Hurricane Ian is rapidly approaching the state of Florida, and several FSU fans are asking about how it'll impact this weekend's scheduled game against Wake Forest. We're going to look at a few possibilities for the game next. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Hurricane Ian is scheduled to make landfall on Thursday somewhere north of Tampa, according to most models. The cone is fairly wide, and a lot of changes could happen between now and then. First and foremost, the most important thing about the storm is safety. I live in the Tampa Bay area. My entire family does as well. If you're in the path of the storm, please be prepared. Listen to your local authorities and their recommendations, and please be safe. No game, no football team means as much as your life or your health or your safety. We will get into it, though. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, smash that, thumbs up, all the things, and stay tuned. We'll keep updating this. I've spoken with a few meteorologists. I've spoken with some folks in Tallahassee and throughout the state that have tried to give some advice, and we'll try and talk through some of what they've talked about and keep you updated here on the channel. Few options for the game this weekend. Want to talk about them. Want to kind of get you guys' thoughts, what your questions are. I've tried to be pretty diligent about responding in the comments, and so feel free to shoot your comments. Feel free to shoot your concerns with what you think, not only about the storm, but how it could impact the game if and when it's played. Number one, the first option is the game goes on as scheduled. Maybe the hurricane dissipates. Maybe it shifts a certain way that it doesn't impact Tallahassee as much, and it doesn't impact the emergency personnel that would be needed in other parts of the state. That's a big reason that a lot of people fear that the game could be rescheduled, postponed, delayed, whatever, is because of the emergency personnel, the manpower that it takes to run a game with 80,000 people at Doak Campbell Stadium. If that personnel is needed in other parts of the states or just other parts of Tallahassee or the Panhandle, it could be tough to pull off a game of that magnitude. To me, this would be the best option for FSU football. And I understand that what's most important is people's health and safety and lives, but this would be the best option for the Noles. The game opened up as the Noles as a 4-point favorite. That has ballooned up to the Noles are almost a touchdown favorite now at 6.5 points. There's a lot of confidence, not only within the locker room, but on the outside, within the fan bases, within the national perspective. There's a lot of confidence that the Noles are a better team than Wake right now. We'll break the game down more and more as the week goes on. We'll talk more about where we like the Noles, what we like about them. But for now, just know there's a lot of confidence in FSU, and playing the game right now is probably the best option for the Seminoles. Moving it to a later time, maybe still a good option for the Noles, but the way they're playing right now, the confidence that they have, I think playing the game at Doak Campbell this weekend would be a really, really good option for the Noles. Again, health and safety first, but it would be unfortunate for the football team if the game wasn't able to happen as scheduled, because I think the game lines up really, really well for the Noles to potentially get to 5-0 this weekend. Hey, while you're watching this, I want to take a quick moment to mention Gramco, thegramco.com. You can go there right now and you can use code TJ25. That's TJ25 to save 25% off of your order. Get your hurricane snacks in now. Get your order in, get it placed, and get it before this thing gets to town. If you're in the state of Florida, shipping is super fast and super quick. Go ahead, get your order in today. They are a leader in the Delta 8 field. They're founded by Noles. They're vet-owned. They have the best Delta 8 gummies on the market. The new green apple gummies that just came out are fantastic. Blue raspberry is my favorite. They've also got tropical fruit punch and watermelon. They've got hard candies, Delta 8 coffee, wake and bake, of course. Vapes, pre-rolls, gummies, whatever you need. It's thegramco.com. TJ25 at checkout will save you 25%. Appreciate Gramco and their support and all that they do for us. Number two is you could do a little bit of bye-week shuffling around. It's been pointed out by several people. I'm not breaking any news here. If you haven't heard this theory or seen it on message boards or people reporting that it's a possibility, I do know that this is something that could be opened up. Spoke with somebody at Wake Forest this morning, said that we may have some insight on this by like Wednesday and know if this is a legitimate possibility or not. But Florida State does have a bye on October 22nd. Wake doesn't. It plays Boston College then, but both teams share a bye the week before. So if Ian is a pretty big issue and we do need to reschedule, An easy out could be to move the FSU Wake game to 10:22. That's the weekend that Florida State currently has a bye, and move the Wake BC game back to 10:15. It would take the conference probably stepping in and saying, like, hey, this is the best thing to do. The ACC can certainly make that happen. I think Wake Forest would be in favor of that happening as well. You get kind of a tune-up game with BC the same weekend that we play Clemson, and then you have Florida State the week after. I think that would suit Wake pretty well. Um, I'd much rather play, if I'm Wake, I'd much rather play Florida State um, the weekend after Florida State plays Clemson, as opposed to the weekend I played Clemson, which they obviously went to overtime with them last week. If you're BC, I don't think you care one way or the other. It's only moving it around by a week. Maybe you catch Wake looking ahead to FSU. BC's probably going to take their whipping from Wake either way that weekend. This isn't a horrible scenario as it provides some rest before North Carolina State and Clemson for Florida State. Maybe allows some guys to get back and get healthy for that game. Depending on your outlook, it could be better for the Noles to get Wake after some guys like Lovett, Verse, Wright are healthy. Don't know if any of those guys would be back this weekend. Maybe Verse, but the other two I doubt. Or it could be better to play Wake now and not have to go through the gauntlet of North Carolina State and Clemson, probably the best two teams left on your schedule before seeing them. Whether a pessimist or an optimist probably determines your outlook on that, whether it's better to play Wake now or later. But this is a decent option for the Noles. It would be probably what would take the least amount of coordinating. You flip one game with BC and Wake, and then you flip our game to the bye week. The Noles get some rest before heading to Raleigh next weekend. There's also a chance, I've spoken with a couple of people, the game could be moved to Sunday. I don't think this is super likely, but if the biggest issue ends up being travel into the state for Wake and its players, an extra day could help here. A lot of times teams come in on Friday. If the storm is happening on Friday and is impacting travel and flights and things like that in Tallahassee, but it doesn't end up being something that, tons of emergency personnel are needed. If it's really just about getting Wake and its players here to Florida and getting them into Tallahassee, and an extra day could actually help here. Obviously, the biggest concern around the game is if Tallahassee takes a direct hit or even a pretty strong indirect hit from this thing. But the secondary concerns of emergency personnel being needed for travel, fans coming to the game, teams coming to the game, and obviously the possibility that hotels could be needed for evacuation reasons all come to mind when making the decision. We don't have a ton of answers yet. It is Monday of game week. We've got 5 days before the game is scheduled to be played. But do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. We'll keep you up to date on what's going on with the game as soon as we know about it. Please remember, stay safe through the storm. That's absolutely what's most important. Smash the subscribe button so you can stay up to date. We will keep you guys updated. Appreciate you for tuning in. Again, stay safe and go Noles.